Hello and welcome to the I Can Do podcast with Benjamin Lee. We're here to talk about tips and strategies to have an I Can Do mindset when it comes to faith, family, fitness, and food. Let's go. Here's your host, Benjamin Lee.
Hello and welcome to another episode of I Can Do. I am Benjamin Lee. I hope and pray that all is well with you. Well, we are in 2021 and there have been quite a few things that have been going on. I'm sure for many people, there have been goals that have been set, journals that have been bought, and I want to talk a little bit about journaling today. I think journaling is a great habit to have when it comes to just so many different areas of our lives. Journaling is a way to be able to see just how far you have come, to be able to identify challenges or pitfalls or even the great successes that you've had in the past. And when you take the time to journal, and I guess we could break down the different kinds of journals. There are so many different journals that are out there. So I have created a few. You can find them on Amazon if you like. I have what's called the Faith, Family, Fitness, Food 31-Day Journal. That's a long title, right? So maybe I should make it a little bit shorter. But it's a journal that gives you space to write out your prayers and gratitude and what you're going to eat, your plans for your meals, the kind of workout, and a motivational thought from me. And I've been able to create some other journals as well. I have a Cast Your Care Upon Him nighttime journal. And this journal is designed to read a Bible verse and then write that Bible verse out, then write out your fears and concerns, and then write out your prayer to God, where you can pray to God and cast those cares to Him as you write out your prayer to Him. So I'm saying all of this. If you're interested in getting them, you can find them on Amazon. But whether it's my journals or someone else's, there's another great journal, the 5-Minute Journal. I bought that, I think, a couple of years ago at a garage sale, and it's really good. It's a short journal, and I think sometimes people get caught up with how much do I actually have to write? Do I have to write out every single event that happens every day? So that's a journal that I would recommend. I would also recommend the Michael Hyatt journal. So he has what's called the Full Focus Planner. And I love that. I've been using that now for, I think, a few years. And I just recently began to start up his journal that he has. It's a book that really, you're supposed to use it towards like the end of the day to kind of reflect and see what you did during the day, what you were able to accomplish, how you were feeling, things you're grateful for, things that you have learned, and what you need to do to move forward for the next day. It's really good, too, because it has prompts. So those questions are available to you every day, so you can just fill in the questions. So those are some good recommendations for you if you're looking for something. Honestly, you could go to Walmart as well and get a 3-ring binder or a 99-cent notebook and create your own journal if you wanted to. I know there is something unique and I think interesting buying a journal and seeing how people have developed different ones. So you have a lot of options that are out there, but there's one thing bigger, or something bigger, I guess, I really want to emphasize. I'm wondering if this has ever happened to you, where you have bought a journal, you begin to fill in those early pages, you're really excited, maybe it's January 1st, and you're solid on day 1, you're solid on day 2, you're solid on day 3, but then by day 4 and 5 and 6, maybe a couple of elements of that journal is not completed. But you keep going. But then you notice in the second or third week, maybe you have missed 1 day or 2 days or even 3 days. Has that ever happened to you where like a month has passed or maybe 2 months have passed and then before you know it, you look back and you're like, oh, I never even finished that journal. And then maybe you get yourself in this cycle where you say, well, I need to just start over again and or maybe fill in those pages that I had left blank or just go buy a whole new one. Well, I want to recommend that you do something else. And just looking at my journal, I've gotten back to it. I actually kind of took a little bit of a break, and since I've been back doing my daily journal, it continues to give me the structure that I need, the structure that I crave, and it just gives me a lot more clarity of where I'm going, how am I going to get there. And one of the benefits now that I'm seeing is I can go back and see, okay, what happened in these days or months or years now. And one of the big things that I have seen is that I do have some blank pages. And there's always a temptation for me, and maybe temptation is not the right word, but there's always a temptation for me to go back and to fill those in as much as I can. But now I'm doing something totally different. I'm just leaving the blank pages blank. Leave them just how they are. So, for example, I'm starting a new week in my Faith, Family, Fitness, Food journal. And let's say I do well on Monday, I fill in my journal. I do well on Tuesday, I fill in my journal. But then Wednesday, I leave that page blank. So when Thursday morning comes up, I look back at Wednesday, and there have been times where I try to fill it in, but I don't always remember everything. But now what I'm doing, I'm just leaving it blank. I think there's something to this, and let me explain. I think one of the things that it will help me to see is that if I actually leave these pages blank, and if you do the same thing as well, the ones that we miss, then after 31 days, we can look back and we can see, okay, let's see where I need to adjust and what happened at this time. And if I find myself seeing 4 or 5 or 10 pages that are blank, then even though I don't have anything written on those pages, I know, okay, there's something lacking in my system. There's something that I need to tighten up a bit because it should be more consistent. But if you go back, or if I go back and try to fill in all those pages to the best of my ability, then I'm not really getting the full picture of where I might be during that current time. Leave the blank pages empty. Leave them empty. Leave them blank. Let them be, because then that will allow you to see another place where you can improve, another place where you can grow. Leave those blank pages empty. Sometimes I think we struggle with this idea of perfectionism. Not sometimes, I know we do. And people, it's interesting how we can go through this cycle where we just start a book or we start a journal and we go strong for a few weeks and then we stop and then we feel like, well, no, I just need to get a fresh start. Well, maybe you don't need to get a fresh start. Maybe you just need to keep on going and pick up where that next page is. Because if we're always getting this quote unquote fresh start, how effective is that really going to be? So we have to be able to train ourselves that even when there are these pauses or moments or long periods of time, that we can still pick things back up, that we can do the next best thing. So I just wanted to share that with you because when I was looking and thinking about this podcast and thinking about my journaling, I did notice that, and there are times where I do get frustrated. I'm like, man, why did I not do this today? And there are moments where maybe you've experienced this as well, where you're like talking to yourself at the end of the night, right? Where I'm saying, Ben, you really need to do your journaling. Get it done now, and I don't do it. And so it's not about perfection, right? I mean, journaling is about having this tool or this resource. And so don't get so caught up on it where if you don't hit every single day, then you feel like, well, now I've just ruined everything. Leave those pages empty. And then go back after a week or after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks and see, where can I modify? Where do I need to change? So if I'm struggling to do this at the end of the night, right before I go to bed, maybe I start doing my journal and preparation for the next day a few hours before. So I'm not completely worn out. And that's another way to kind of pivot or to modify so that you can get the most out of your journaling, because it's so important, especially like in 2020 and now in 2021, to capture these days that we're experiencing, because you're going to be able to look back at this time and to see, wow, man, okay, so I made it through these moments, these challenging years. What else can I do? A lot more than you think. Because we're often way stronger than we ever think. So give that a shot. Let me know how it goes. And keep going. Keep moving forward. Do the next best thing and watch what will happen. Thank you for tuning in. Please leave me a review if you can, and share this if you get the opportunity as well. And remember, I can do, so can you.